Pirtle Springs, Missouri. I can't say I know that part of Johnson County, Missouri. Pirtle Springs, Missouri. And then this heavier thunderstorm, that's in Worland, Missouri. That's going toward Butler. It gets there around 8:30, 8:25. This is not severe. It's just a big thunderstorm. And some more storms going across Truman Lake. There's been a bunch of severe weather south of us in the Ozarks. Let's zoom out with my laptop. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Let's see if there's any warnings down here. There's a big area of severe thunderstorm watches, but there's no warnings down there. So really stormy down to the south and a few thunderstorms down there. All right, people joining us yet? What's going on here? I'm trying to see the comments as they're coming in. If you're commenting on it, I can't see it yet. I'm not ignoring you, I promise. Still trying to see the comments on this. But if you are commenting, there we go. Wow, Monticello, Arkansas, Butler. Okay, thank you, Butler. You know, since Butler spoke up, let's look at the weather in Butler. And thank you, Bailey, for bringing that up. Butler, let's go down to you. Bates County. There you go, Butler. What are you experiencing in Butler? This is a good little thunderstorm coming in. I imagine it's pretty quiet right now in Butler. But this gets there in Butler, 8:25, 15 minutes. Not bad. Just a good old thunderstorm, just a good old late winter, early spring thunderstorm. That's what's going on in Warrensburg right now as well. M-I-Z-Z-O-U. I'm from Columbia, so I appreciate that Mizzou reference. Okay, let's go through the timing of these thunderstorms. Not so much those ones that are happening right now, but the timing of the thunderstorms that are happening on Friday. This whole talk is to answer your questions and to discuss what's going to be happening on Friday with those thunderstorms as well. So this is Friday morning here, and the blue underlay a bunch of fuel for storms, which just means it's moisture and it's a little bit of heat. It will finally get warmer. It may be 65 degrees on Friday morning. When you get out the door Friday, it may be 60 to 65 degrees. You'll probably feel the humidity and probably feel the wind as well. This day is going to somewhat feel like severe weather. Windy, humid, and eventually in the afternoon, it gets warm. So from roughly 10 p.m. Thursday night until around 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Friday morning, there's a chance for one wave of thunderstorms to come through. And then still may be some lingering rain and thunderstorms until around 10 a.m. Not too concerned about those being severe, but I can't rule it out. The second wave of thunderstorms is the better chance of being severe, and that's after 3 o'clock. I bumped up the timeline a little bit for when those thunderstorms could happen. But watch behind me here. This is the building area of storm fuel. The greens off to the west there, that's a higher amount of storm fuel. And I know it's very washed out. Just one big layer of aqua that you're seeing on your screen. But you'll notice the greens start to come up a little bit more there. That's the warmth of the sunshine getting through the clouds, starting to heat up the day. And then that is a signal for a big line of thunderstorms to try and pop up. Another scenario here is that we start to get little individualized thunderstorms popping up ahead of it, like the little storms here and here and here and here. These could be little storms that pop up ahead of the main line, or this line could eventually begin as little individualized thunderstorms and then begin to blow through Kansas City. So this is 7 o'clock here. Maybe a big line of thunderstorms somewhere between I-35 and let's say up into northwest Missouri and northeastern Kansas, with a threat of damaging wind gusts, some hail, and tornadoes as well. In fact, you can get tornadoes two different ways in this situation. You get them from little individualized thunderstorms that happen, let's say between 3 and 8 p.m., and then along the line there could be some thunderstorms. But this is a signal here from this weather model to just be one really big line of storms that blows through Friday afternoon and Friday evening. And then look at this, what's happening in Nebraska. It's snow. I don't think the snow is going to get here, but this is the type of year in which we get windy days, stormy days, and then 12 hours later after the storms come through, we try to get some snow or some wintry weather that shows up. All right, let's see what people are saying in the comments. Hello from Garnett, Kansas. Carly's in Garnett. Let's see what's going on in Garnett, Kansas real quick. And then as people join, we'll go through that little forecast again. So Garnett, you had some thunder. It looks like you probably had some thunderstorms move there through a few hours ago. Let's go back in time here. Oh yeah, a few hours worth of thunderstorms, but most of that is past you right now, Garnett. And outside of a few showers, that you could get later on tonight, I think the worst of the thunderstorms are probably gone. A lot of them are now sitting east of you. Warrensburg, Odessa, Concordia, Kansas City, really not seeing a whole lot of rain at all. We could get some light rainfall around midnight and afterward, but no thunderstorms going on. Pearl Springs is by Warrensburg. Yes, you're right. You're right, Todd. Whenever I was looking at Pearl Springs, I hadn't heard of Pearl Springs before, albeit I don't really spend a whole lot of time in Johnson County, Missouri. I've definitely driven through Warrensburg and Knob Noster, but you're right. There you go. There's Pearl Springs, Missouri. Is there an actual spring there, Todd? How knowledgeable are you about the Pearl Springs area? I'd be curious. Like Blue Springs. I have family that live in Blue Springs. I've been going to Blue Springs for 30 years. I've never actually seen a spring in Blue Springs before. You think Spring Hill? Does Spring Hill have a spring in it? Let me know. It is definitely foggy out there, Debbie. That's a good point. Let's go look at some of the live cameras. One, the Truman Sports Complex. This one's been giving me a pretty foggy look the whole week. Yeah, low clouds, misty. Let's go to another one downtown. It's always nice to see, the low clouds overhanging and kind of dipping down into some of the tall buildings. And it's kind of there. There are low clouds there. It's not quite down to the President Hotel, but some of the taller ones looking toward the Power and Light area. I'm sure like the top several floors of the Power and Light building are stuck in a bunch of fog right now. We'll have the fog around for tonight, and the sunshine should come out tomorrow morning. It should be or maybe not even tomorrow morning, pardon me. Tomorrow afternoon should be much better. We'll go partly cloudy tomorrow, like 65-ish for a high temperature. Finally, a really nice day after all that. Lacine, Kansas. I always find that one tricky. Lacine or Lacine, Kansas. It's over here. That's one of those on the map when I see, I have to like spell it out in my head. I don't think there's a whole lot going on there. There's a thunderstorm. There's one little storm by you. Okay. Let's see what time that gets into Lacine. 8:23. 5 or 10 minutes there. It'll get into Lacine or Lysine. Where'd you go? It'll be maybe just north of town. May just miss you there. How strong do you think the storms, Samantha wants to know, how strong do you think the storms will be on Friday? How strong will the winds be during the storms on Friday? 60, we'll say 50 to 70 mile per hour winds, especially if they come together as a line. That's when you get the best signature to get widespread wind damage and little individualized tornadoes. So let's look at that little signature for wind. When it comes together like this, and this isn't exactly what the radar is going to look like, this kind of tells me what the rain has done the past 3 hours. So when I see like one long block like that, that tells me that the front end of this is a line of thunderstorms. So 50 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. With that, I have a hard time believing it's going to be like a huge wind event, but still everything is on the table to get damaging wind gusts, hail, and some tornadoes as well. Are we worried about spin-up tornadoes or big tornadoes? Man, that's tough. I would say both, Savannah, both, because there is the chance that those thunderstorms that come through in the morning, right? Let's back up here. There are some thunderstorms that come through Friday morning, and it's possible that those don't allow for a whole lot of storm fuel to get up, and that would hurt the development of those big tornadoes which come from individualized storms. But I think in any event, we're probably still going to get this line of storms that comes through. But again, if cold air, and there's a cold front with this, if the cold front can somehow get ahead of the storms, that would lessen the severe threat in terms of tornadoes. But we're monitoring for both here. We're monitoring for individualized thunderstorms in the afternoon and for a big line to form overall. I think the better chance for like really big tornadoes, and again, this is not me saying we won't get tornadoes in Kansas and Missouri. The better threat for bigger tornadoes may end up being down here in Oklahoma, where they have a better mix of instability. At the same time, there's a better kind of setup for just, let me get my drawing out here, for some storms to spin up across northwest Missouri, northeastern Kansas, because there's an area of low pressure right here. And so as that thing is spinning around, When you are closer to the big spin, little spins can develop from it as well. And so there's essentially sort of like a sweet spot here where you can get just close enough to the big spin and just enough storm fuel to get some tornadoes that develop. Because that's what severe weather is. It's a mix between two ingredients. If you have a lot of one, that doesn't mean you'll get really big storms. You need some of both to get the storms. Thanks, Trent. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. What about any info on Lawrence, Kansas? Christian wants to know about Lawrence, Kansas. Let's go, we can zoom in on Lawrence real quick to try to get the timing on it. Lawrence, I think that you are going to get some storms on Thursday night into Friday, and then you're in the risk area to get those individualized thunderstorms as well, and then the line passing through. So let's go in the Thursday night time frame. Let's go Friday morning. Friday morning, 6 a.m. I know this blob right here is north of Lawrence. Lawrence along I-70, at least in the map, generally along I-70. So just because that blob is north of you doesn't mean that blob will be coming through. That's a signal for thunderstorms. So thunderstorms Friday morning in Lawrence, and then the afternoon, you're in that spot where like 3 o'clock, you may be at the start of the severe weather, so around 3 o'clock, and then a couple hours later, or maybe even an hour later, that's when a line tries to form and then blow through Lawrence. This is 8 o'clock, and that would be a big line of thunderstorms, either have just moved through Lawrence or is really, really close by. What is this? It seems the SPC discussion. Yes, Brad. So that's what we're talking about. You can get thunderstorms, you can get tornadoes within the line of thunderstorms or ahead of the line of thunderstorms. Gardner, Kansas. Let's see what's going on in Gardner, Kansas real quick, because I know there are some storms there that are moving through, and these are not severe in Gardner. Let me turn off my fancy little cones there because we don't need that right now. And zoom out. Gardner, you're down here. Come on up here, Gardner. There we go. There's not a whole lot going on in Gardner. Nothing at all. All the storms are south of you. But Gardner is in the same spot that Lawrence is in, which is 3 o'clock or so. You may get the first round of kind of scattered thunderstorms that move through. Gardner, I'll put you in the middle of the map there. The first round of storms that move through, and then it turns into a big line of storms eventually in the evening. That would be your big line. And this is, for an example, at 7 o'clock, but the window, could be 3 to 10 o'clock for 1 or 2 rounds of thunderstorms to move through there. Okay, what else we got going on here? You're welcome, Kristen. Yeah, Melanie just talked about the time there for Gardner. What's the time look like for the heaviest in Overland Park on Friday? I say, Abby, the most likely time for you to get a thunderstorm, so we're going to ignore the chance for an isolated supercell in the afternoon. We're going to ignore the chance for scattered thunderstorms Thursday night and Friday morning. It would be some point around 7 o'clock here, right, give or take maybe a couple of hours. So we're looking at 5 to 9 for at least a line of thunderstorms to blow through. That is generally for all of Johnson County, Missouri, right? Johnson County, Douglas County, and Lawrence. Just because you were like one county over does not change your outlook by an hour or two, okay? So like Johnson County, Leavenworth County, and Wyandotte County, that's kind of the scenario there for that big line of thunderstorms to try and blow through. Clay Como, we're looking at the same thing there in general. We'll just say for all of the metro Kansas City from 5 to 9, that's when they're looking like maybe that line of thunderstorms or your best chance of seeing thunderstorms to move through. That does not account for an isolated or scattered thunderstorms to move through before then, and then the morning thunderstorms as well. Friday morning time frame is like Thursday 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. on Friday. Those thunderstorms are probably not going to have tornadoes. There's not really, in fact, there really isn't a tornado threat with that. It's for gusty winds and hail. And those Friday morning thunderstorms may impact the severity of the Friday afternoon and evening thunderstorms as well. Monica just joining us, 5 to 9 p.m. for a big line of thunderstorms in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, generally for the metro here. That's your best chance of thunderstorms, but isolated thunderstorms are possible as early as 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Similarity to March 6, 2017, is that Is that the Oak Grove tornado, Ezekiel? If it is, I don't know. I have not done and I have not done much looking at the Oak Grove tornado setup, but I do know it was an early March tornado situation. And so in that regard, early March, the interesting thing about this is that we were put in a severe weather outlook 4 days before this is happening, right? So we've been in this this level 3 risk, I don't know if it was yesterday or even the day before. But for early March to be put in this level of a risk, 3 of 5, for early March, 4 days out, is really unusual. It does not happen at all. Or rather, that does not happen very often. Don't want to speak too extreme here. It just doesn't. You know, we're still like in the in-between season here of spring and winter, albeit it kind of seems like winter is over. I would not write off winter yet, the way things go around here. But it's really unusual to be in such a high-risk area so far out. Speaking of, this is the risk area for next Tuesday. This is, right, like 7 days out, 6 days out, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 6 days out. And so we're already in a level 2 risk for Tuesday because it looks warm and it looks windy. We'll be in the 70s Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And so once we get past Friday, then we'll figure out what's going to happen here with Tuesday. But it's a really busy start to the spring storm season. And we really haven't seen a whole lot of storms yet. None of these have come to fruition. But just the setups for severe weather, I mean, pretty active for this early on. Do I think a moderate risk is possible? I would say a low chance of there being a moderate risk. We would have to have a lot of certainty that there was not going to be a decrease in, we call it instability or CAPE, but like fuel from storms. There have to be a really strong indication that whatever happens in the morning is not going to have any repercussions on what happens in the afternoon, and the wind would have to increase as well. So I don't think this is going to be upgraded to a moderate risk. I would be pretty surprised if it did, at least for us here locally. And this is actually the Tuesday risk. Let me pull up the, this is the Friday risk. If there was some sort of upgrade, I would think that it would be further down to the south in Oklahoma near Tulsa. Climatologically, so like what normally happens this time of year, is that further south they have a better chance for tornadoes and severe weather in general. So that would seem to me to be the more likely spot to get upgraded to a moderate risk, which is a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe thunderstorms. Will you update us Thursday night and Friday morning? You know, the comment does have a few likes on it, so I will try to. If I don't update you here on Facebook, which I probably won't, I'm not going to be accessing our station Facebook page to do that. But go to my Facebook page. I believe I'm tagged in this in like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, like everything. I'll get updates for you on there. But I don't think I'll be doing a Facebook Live like this for doing it. Okay, what else we have going on here? Anybody else? Let's see where the storms are right now after I go through these comments. Yes, there is a tornado threat for Lawrence, John. Yes, around 3 o'clock Friday. And then maybe about an hour or so later, as a line of thunderstorms tries to form nearby or behind any of the little supercells that try to form in Lawrence. Okay, let's see what's going on here with the current storms, and then I'm going to wrap it up here in about 5 minutes or so. Still nothing severe, but a good little cluster of thunderstorms. I can tell when the storms are at least strong and dropping some really heavy rainfall when my radar program puts a bunch of arrows out, because that means it's strong enough for the radar to take note of and try to figure out where it's moving. So this storm going to Clinton around 8:40, bunch of little storms over Warrensburg. It gets to Lamont around 9, Knob Noster. It's pretty much in Knob Noster at this point. Concordia, this little storm gets there around 8:55. And Adrian, Butler, Bates County, a few thunderstorms. This one down here in Nevada, Missouri, big cluster down there. That's going to go toward probably Appleton City and Deepwater, which seems to happen this time of year. is that we get tornadoes north and south of Kansas City. So would not be surprised if on Friday afternoon or Friday evening, if I can get rid of my silly storm tracks, there we go. Friday afternoon or Friday evening as we get some individualized storms that are like supercells that are down here, or we get some type of supercells that are here, and then eventually, I'm talking northwest Missouri, northeastern Kansas, and then eventually it forms into some sort of blob of a line and then blows through with a threat of damaging wind gusts. So that's just like my suspicion based on what I have seen over the years. It would not surprise me very much if some storms sneak in there south of Kansas City and become tornadoes. Chris just joined. Belton's in the same boat as everybody else. So for Belton, the storms could arrive probably closer to 4 since you are a little bit further off to the east. But Belton, scattered thunderstorms, maybe some hail and gusty winds on Friday morning, and that's what this is depicting right here. There's little scattered thunderstorms moving through, but there's no threat for tornadoes with anything that happens on Friday morning. Really, really low threat. I should never say never in weather, but I don't have any concern for tornadoes on Friday morning. It would be Friday afternoon to Friday evening. So Belton, here you go. You're right in the middle there, 8 o'clock-ish. I've been telling people around Kansas City, generally 7, but you give or take a couple of hours here for the storms to move through. I mean, Belton's going to get rain. It's just a matter of, do you dodge any isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon, which could be bad, before a line comes through, and that line carries the threat for damaging wind gusts and spin up tornadoes, not so much hail. If there would be hail, like big hail, it would have to be from any either morning thunderstorms or any early afternoon thunderstorms, like those 3 to 5 o'clock time frame storms as well. Rainfall amounts, this is just for what would come on Friday, 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, and then there's going to be more rain that comes on Tuesday, and these numbers may double, if not more, with how much rainfall we may get on Tuesday as well. Let's look at Adrian real quick, because I encourage people to speak up, and I appreciate it. Wait, hold on. You said, yo, Adrian. I just said, I think Trevor is making a joke, but I appreciate it. There's still a place called Adrian. There you go. There you go, Adrian. Thunderstorms nearby. It's happening. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me for this little weather report. Obviously, I'll be on TV in about an hour and a half at 10 o'clock with more weather updates. Monitor social media, West Weather. I'm on all of them. I'll give you the updates. I have a podcast, the Kansas City Weather Report. You can follow that as well for more updates. I provide those on weekday mornings. They get put right into your little podcast feed. So join me on there for more updates for this storm system and all the ones that come in the future. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Wednesday night.